Seven Wonders Armada adds a number of things to the base game. It adds, the main kind of focus is this shipping board, which everyone gets one of these with a red, a yellow, a blue and a green ship on. I'll just bring it a little bit closer so we can see what's going on. Basically, when you play a card from your hand to your tableau of a matching colour, you may also move the ship forwards of that matching colour, assuming you can pay the cost. So if I knock the green off, if I have wood, I can move the green up, blue, bricks, I can move the blue up, so on and so forth. Blue generally gets you victory points, green gets you island visits, which I'll talk about in a minute. Yellow is money and, what's it called? Commercial level. And red is a new way of fighting other players, which is naval warfare. In this game, from now on, just get the green ship. There are two types of battles. The red battles that you're used to are called ground warfare, and the blue battles are called naval warfare. So let's look at some of the extra cards and what they do. This card very simply lets you take a resource for 1 coin from a neighbour 2 seats away in that direction. This gives you the money, but also costs everyone else their commercial level. On the yellow track, there's these little vases, and whatever a player's commercial level is, they will lose money according to that. This acts as a wild kind of science token, but it becomes the one that you have the most of, so you can't choose. This gives you naval warfare power, works just the same as the previous military strength, or as they're now called ground battles. This lets you pick up an island card, which I'll show you in a minute. This lets you move one of your ships up and get the points. This gives you ground unit strength and an incursion token. The incursion token is this, and you will play this in front of another player as indicated here. So you'll play it 2 seats to your left, and during the military conflict ground resolution, you will attack the players either side of you and the player 2 seats to your right, wherever this sits. Naval battles work slightly differently. You tot up all your blue strength as you do with the reds, but this battle is against everyone, and in the first stage the player with the most naval strength gets 3, then the second most gets 1 and the weakest gets none, and so on as you go. The person with the person who loses gets the minus points, so it's well worth getting the most, or at least being second or third, and avoiding minus points, but that's resolved against everyone at the same time. So you all tot up your totals. Player with the most takes this, player with the second most, and the player with the least gets the minus points. You can also visit islands, which are cards that have 1, 2 or 3 trees on, and they give you things like one-off bonuses, or they may give you extra resources that you can tuck behind here and then are available to you as per the base game. That is a brief overview of Seven Wonders Armada. Let's go and see what I thought. Seven Wonders Armada ends up adding quite a lot in terms of thought to the base game of Seven Wonders. The game goes from being a 15 to 20 minute game to probably being roughly double that. It is quite a lot to throw in with new players, but for players who've played Seven Wonders and are familiar with the way the systems work, it's going to be quite an easy add. The new things to add in are the sea battles or naval battles, the islands, and the commercial level. It's the only... I haven't played Babel, or played some of the Leaders expansions, but I haven't played anything that adds any of those things in before. So for me it was quite a lot. Some of those may have been added in before. I'm pretty sure naval battles are new, but I don't know about commercial levels. So there is a lot to take in, a lot to kind of grok, but again, if you're familiar with the base game, that's going to be easier said than done. I really like the kind of physical element of moving your ships up the track. That could have been done with just a cube, but they actually go to the trouble of using ship miniatures. And although those boards were a nightmare to punch out all the little slots for the ships to fit in, but it works really well. If it gets knocked, unlike cubes where it gets knocked, it's going to go everywhere. When that's flat on a table, they're not going anywhere, those ships, apart from the ones you move. But you must get them the right way around because it looks better, and the sails are buffeted by the wind. Yes. Otherwise they go backwards. It adds a lot to the base game. It's not an expansion I would always play with, because depending on who was playing, basically. If people were familiar with the game, I would definitely add it in. Adds a couple more decisions, but more opportunities as well. But again, with new players, I have done it with new players, but I wouldn't do it again. They managed fine, but I think in general it's probably one just to wait until they've played probably only 1 or 2 games of the base game. So I really like it. The most negative thing I can say is that it does double the length of time, which, you know, going into Seven Wonders you're thinking, it just takes this amount of time, it's a quick game. It's no longer super quick, but it's still pleasantly speedy. What else does it add? Nothing else really, but the islands are nice, but just another way to get a potential bonus. The science card is really cool, adding to your most collected science, which I really liked. I like to grab a few of those if I could. And it's all well integrated with the base set, so you can quickly separate out what is what. There are rules to play it with Babel as well, but although it does advise not to do that, I can imagine that would only make the time even longer to play. So, intimidation factor. For existing Seven Wonders players who are familiar with the systems, it's going to be a really easy add. For new players who haven't played the base game, you're going to need to wait until they've played the base game at least once. Rulebook is fine. It's a bit funny in that Seven Wonder way, the way all their rulebooks are a bit funny. And I think the reason I say that, for me, it's the order of events. The order in which things happen is the funny bit for me. Not funny, ha-ha, but just a bit odd. And the fun, yeah, it did increase my fun in Seven Wonders. I like Seven Wonders, I like the drafting, but this just gave me an extra decision. If there can be a better reason to take a card that I wouldn't normally have taken because it might get me up on that track. And if you can max out those tracks, it's really, really good for scoring, or for additional powers that are available to you. So I had a lot of fun playing this. It's definitely getting added to my copy of Seven Wonders. Unfortunately, I just got the folded space insert for this before I got the expansion, and I don't think there's any way I'm going to fit that in there. We'll have a play, we'll see. So it does increase the box size if you're bothered about that sort of thing. If you haven't got an insert, you'll be fine. You can just dump it in. So yeah. It's one that's staying in my collection, one that I will use, but not every time I play Seven Wonders. Thanks very much for watching another Zatu review. We will see you next time.